Hey there, welcome to CNT Collectibles. I am C. Hope you're doing very well. This is our weekly sports card chart box where we take an overhead look at the sports card market. Price is truth, and so we'll see what we can see here. And we'll get started as always with Mike Trout and a PSA 10. Start with a couple of goats. We'll move into some baseball, some football, a little bit of basketball, hockey, and a Pokemon to finish it off. So Mike Trout and PSA 10 continues to consolidate. This card, Mike Trout might actually take the field again before this card figures out what it wants to do. It's still in kind of this holding pattern here, bouncing off the top of the range here, and but it's holding in at the bottom and the support line as well. So one of these days it's going to run out of room, and we're going to know if this goes upward, which will create some space for some of the lesser priced cards to move upwards, or if this breaks down, which will compress the price of some of those lesser priced cards, because they can't be. No one's going to pay more for a base card than they will for a Mike Trout, at least in the modern era here. All right, Tom Brady, Tom Terrific, breaking out of his downtrend here, which is a nice sign to see here. So we had kind of upside targets. If this was your bottom of between $17,000 and $20,000, we got our $17,000. It was rejected at the upper trend line here, holding into support, and then a quick pop up to $20,000. So that is a big move that brings you back halfway to its previous high, roughly. From here to here, and it might be due for a little bit of a pause here. You got some resistance up here, so the upside at this point is a little bit limited, but if we came back a little bit here and you're looking for this card, hopefully it retests this and then gets a bit of a bounce here. That's maybe what happens. And so if you're looking for it, be patient, but you know, breaking this downtrend is a good sign overall. And we'll look at the price relative between these two here. And you can see this is the Tom Brady and the PSA 10, and this is Mike Trout. And so here's a couple of the goats. Tom Brady has been outperforming Mike Trout. So as this relative performance line trends lower, it favors the second half of the pairing here. So Tom Brady has been outperforming, but it is at a level of support where Mike Trout has outperformed in the past here. So this is where Brady outperforms, Trout outperforms. Here's a Trout outperforming. Here's a Brady outperforming, and then we'll look for Trout to maybe outperform in the very short term. And that kind of lines up with Brady pulling back. It's not like Mike Trout has to explode upwards in price because it's consolidating and not doing much at all. But if Brady pulled back and Trout just went sideways, then that would count as some relative outperformance. So as far as Brady pulling back just a little bit, again, hit that 50% retracement, and the relative performance line is at the bottom of this range where if Trout just holds steady again, I think that that Brady pulls back. And it could be a decent in percentage terms, 10-15% or something like that. When you're going $17,000 to $20,000, that's a pretty big move. If it gave up a grand and a half or something like that, that sure wouldn't surprise me. All right, let's get on with this, man. Enough jibber jabber. One of the final goats we'll look at here before we move into sports specific stuff here. LeBron James in the Topps Chrome. So we had kind of our buy zone in here, got a pop here, and it's still respecting pretty close to this upper trend line here, but it's also again supporting this bottom trend line. So again, cards are an asset class for the most part. If there's some sort of news, or if there's a player that's just doing some otherworldly stuff, then they can diverge from the rest of the card market. But as it stands right now, a lot of these names are in consolidation, and there'll be a big heads up as to what's the next move here. So again, looking at the consolidation here, could be some more upside, but LeBron, just like the rest of them, trying to figure things out. Mookie Betts trying to figure things out. So you've got this downtrend, respecting this lower support zone here, but again, consolidating for the most part. So Mookie, like a lot of cards, are just waiting to figure out what that next move is. PSA 9 had a big pop last week. It was up 100%, $75 to $150. So that's too much. That's too much too quick here. Let it come back, especially with the PSA 10 going around 305. You know, if you were to get in that 110 area or something like that, that would be a little bit of a better price here. So it's currently sitting at 115. It's still brought back in this area. So if you're looking for that Mookie Betts, $75-$80 would be really, really nice. Maybe doesn't happen here, but something closer to $100 is probably what you are looking for. Fernando Tatis in 2019 PSA 10 is base card, and consolidating in this zone here said, you know what, if it sneaks into this area here, would expect it to be a very quick move, and then the market can get a little bit of confidence that this card is gonna resume its well, at least its consolidation. But so what we're seeing is a quick move into this zone here, snapped up very equally quickly. And so it is in a downtrend, but it is wedging, and that's a pretty decent pattern. There's a high probability of a breakout and some more upside. So it's consolidated long enough, lots of accumulation, and putting in this new high here. So again, maybe a little bit of a pullback, but if you're patient, wait for it to break out of this. If you are aggressive, buying in here and holding for that NL MVP announcement may be profitable. Vlad Guerrero, this is his Topps Chrome PSA 10. Up in here said, you know what, there's probably other names to look at. Last week, right in this area, said, you know what, Vlad is probably one of those other names to look at, and he absolutely ripped to the top of the zone here, but gave roughly half of that back here. So we'll see how that plays out. But again, a lot of consolidation, a lot of nothing for the most part. Some wild mood swings in here, but for the majority of the last year, a couple 7-8 months or whatever, it's been a lot of sideways action here. So middle range, maybe there's not a ton to do with it at this time here, but if you're looking for that chrome, then if you can revisit something closer to what we had last week, then that's your spot, and you sell up here, rinse, repeat. All right, the chrome update. Vlad Guerrero PSA 10. So uptrend is broken. Now you're in a downtrend, but it's hanging on to support in this consolidation zone here. So it's a big move up. It's a big move down, and the risk reward sets up pretty favorably for now. So, but that trend is down. So if you do get those monster rips, probably worth selling. But if you're looking for this card just in general, sitting at a pretty nice price here, probably pretty fair. It's been at that level for the most, hit this point, a couple times over the past, beginning of the season or whatever. So again, if you're looking for it, this is as good as you've had for a while here. Juan Soto Topps update, sitting about $137. So we had a quick sneak down to about that $113 mark. Regretted not jumping. I was actually in on that auction. I'm like, why didn't I just put a bid at like $120? But yeah, so now you're really kind of in that consolidation zone, $125, $140, something like that. So if you're looking for that card, that's probably the price for now. If it breaks down, then you're seeing much lower prices here. But he's awesome, and I don't know that you get that opportunity here. So look at this Bowman's Best PSA 10, the refractor version here, still in a pretty steady uptrend here, and you can see that it's within the uptrend. It's broken. It's downtrend down, breaking the downtrend within the uptrend. Confused yet? Did I get you? Retesting this, and now it's into a resistance area here. So not a lot to do here unless you're prepared for it just to maybe go sideways, but it could continue to go. I like those refractors here, but yeah, probably more of a seller hold at this current level here. But it's been a relative outperformer. So Luis Robert 2018 Bowman. This is the Chrome Prospects Chrome. That's just the base card here in an uptrend. So you get your downtrend broken, and now it's in a uptrend, and it's at the bottom of the range where buying has taken place in the past. And he's lighting it up, and he's headed to the playoffs. So a lot of things are lining up for this card to perhaps go higher. Topps Chrome Rafael Devers. Sneaking outside the range, if you're lucky, you get a quick hit down to $60. There's like one or two sales there, so I mean, who's quick enough? Two people are quick enough for that, but a lot of people aren't going to be quick enough for that. So it looks like maybe there's 3 sales in this area here. So there's your bottom. So again, consolidating, and with this big move up again, look for a little bit of a pullback. $80 has kind of been your support level for most of the last sales until it gets really choppy here. So again, the playoff team going in there, the card could continue to rip a bit here, but right now I think if you waited just a little, you could do a little bit better on price. And if you've been holding for a while, a lot of nothing that's going on, and probably a lot of nothing going on in the future here. Freddie Freeman, surprise, consolidating. So bottom of the range though here, you got a nice pop, but rejected at pretty cleanly at resistance here. So not back to the bottom of the range. And if it's a card you're looking for, this is kind of the spot. But like a lot of other cards here, as far as upsides, either be quick or just be patient. So Nolan Arenado, looking at his Topps Chrome update in a PSA 10 and a PSA 9. They track pretty similarly. The 9 is actually outperformed. What I like about this one here is this one is the 10 is around $300, pretty close to that. The 9 is sitting at $75. Pretty cheap, relatively speaking here. So there've been a few 10 sales as of late. So we'll see if the 9 corrects, if it just kind of stays at this level or moves up just a little bit. But that relationship is there's a little bit of distortion there, and the 9 seems relatively cheap compared to the 10. All right, football season, it's getting started tonight, and you're going to see this the day after the game or whatever. I'm recording this on Thursday, but yeah, I'm excited for it. And so for fantasy purposes, I've got some rankings here, and I'm just going to go through the top 5 at each position for fantasy purposes. So quarterback, running back, and wide receiver. So it's not so much about the rankings. Just pulled them off of one of the first sites that I saw on my old cheat sheet. But it's more about just taking a look at the players themselves. So Donruss, the optic Patrick Mahomes, the base PSA 10 again consolidating. So top of the range coming after us a little bit here in a zone where there's a pretty decent amount of buying. So buy it knowing that there could be a little bit more downside at some point. You'll get a break one way or another, and then you'll see a big move. But for now, it's just kind of a boring generic consolidation pattern, and those could take some time. Josh Allen, 2018 Prism base PSA 10. Sneaking out of the range here, and that usually brings you back to the bottom of the range. So we're not there yet. It's holding on to a little level of support if you really zoom in here. So it's right in the middle of the range, probably not a lot to do here. If you get down to this area, then that's where you likely want to buy. But again, it's kind of compressing and ping-ponging around. So we'll see how he does in the actual season. If he does as well as our friend Dakota thinks, then this would eventually break out to the upside. So right now, like most things, again, just that this compression is just, it's getting narrower and narrower, so it's just going to be more and more boring. Like, this is kind of exciting, but right here, it's not going to be a whole lot of anything here. Kyler Murray, 2019 Prism, downtrend, and it snuck into this zone. So think like what Soto did, what Tatis did, snuck into the zone. Now it's holding onto the support here. So again, if he has a pretty good season, then you could start to see those prices move upwards. So if you're patient, wait for that downtrend line to clear. If you are impatient, then this is a pretty decent spot to buy, as a lot of people have done it in the past and have been rewarded. So see if that repeats itself. Lamar Jackson, this is Donruss, sitting at the bottom of the range here. So those first couple of games here with Detroit and Vegas, it's like, man, KC's in there as well, but maybe he'll have to throw a lot. So if he's able to live up to his billing as a top 5 quarterback, then this represents a pretty good price overall. I might have to pick up one of those. I like that. Whatever. I've been burned on Lamar Jackson enough, so maybe I just pick up the 9, hold it, and forget that I have it. Dak Prescott, 2016 Prism. I didn't have them in the top 5 in my rankings, so perhaps the updated rankings that I pulled these from, they like what they saw in Hard Knocks. So we'll see what happens here. So top of the range, bottom of the range. I'm chugging along the bottom of the range, and I think that is a very interesting spot to do something with Dak if that's what you're seeking to do. Starting out, all right, a couple of running backs here. CMcC, Christian McCaffrey. We looked at him a few times in the past here, and this is a pretty well-defined trend channel. Sitting at the bottom, you got to lift off. Now here you are again, so it's respecting this pretty well here. So you're closer to the bottom range than the top of the range on that one. Dalvin Cook, again, right at the bottom of the range. Our timing might be pretty good on this one if you're looking for this to get a pop. This is the Prism Silver and a PSA 10. And Derrick Henry, bottom of the range, in a downtrend, but bottom of the range, worth a trade. Again, more upside than downside, probably on this particular card as well. That price is up there quite a bit here. So, but it is what it is. It could go up even higher. Alvin Kamara, pretty well-defined wedge on the way down here. So it's sitting in the middle of the range here. So not much to do on this one. If it gets up here, then you sell it. If it gets down here, then you buy it. But right now you're kind of in the middle, so it's like, well, I don't know what it does next. So your risk-reward is fairly equal. So sometimes nothing is the play. Ezekiel Elliott, bottom of the range, getting a rip to the middle of the range, I guess. So kind of the same thing as with Kamara. There's not much to do right here at the moment. But it's worth monitoring if you get another stab at that area here. Receivers, Tyreek Hill, top of the range, coming off middle of the range. Not much to do, but it's compressing, and those lines are getting a lot closer. So the range is narrowing a bit. So if you do get another crack down here, you buy it, and right here, ideally what you would do is you buy half right here, and then you buy your other half of the position right there. And tough to do with that because you wouldn't have a PSA 10 anymore if you cut that thing in half. So right now, more of just kind of a watch. But at this area here, there's been transactions that have taken place. So I think if you're aggressive, you could do something with that right now. If you're patient, then just let this thing kind of figure out what it's going to do. But the aggressive buyer may follow these transactions and take a stab at it here. Davonte Adams, again, we've looked at this one in the past, and it's been a tight, frustrating range. So we did get a pop off of this area, and it's just been a lot of sideways action here, and starting to see a little bit of lift here. But if he's able to live up to that top couple receiver status here, then we could see a breakout of that one. But patience may be rewarded in this one. Again, sitting in the middle of the range. Stephon Diggs looks really good in that purple there. So a few more purchases in this area than we've seen in the past. You're not seeing this top to bottom in one move. You're seeing a bunch of purchases in here. Risk reward sets up favorably there. If Josh Allen is your top couple quarterback, He's going to be the biggest beneficiary of that, and that could help his card prices. And Calvin Ridley, so bottom of the range, and getting a bit of a lift on this one as well. So perhaps a little under the radar. That's an inexpensive a base card, perhaps. It's not a silver, I don't believe. So I'm not sure what the multiplier on that between a base would be, but this seems relatively cheapish for compared to the rest of these guys here. So maybe he's ready to move up to that next level if he is indeed a top 5 receiver on the year. DK Metcalf continues his downtrend, putting in some new lows here. So it may be worth a bit of a pop. There's some buying in here. There's 3 sales at least that could start to get some chasing in on this one here. So it's probably more interesting than not. A little bit more reward than risk at the time, but again, that trend is still down, and so this is where you'd want to take some profits unless it can break out and hold. Then we've got ourselves an uptrend. But right now, new lows is not indicative of that. All right, a couple basketball here. Luka Doncic. A lot of sideways action, bottom range curling up just a little bit, but again, this could be a slow grind higher. Plenty of purchases in here, and so a lot of support. So can those purchases outweigh the sellers on a card that has a population of 17,000 or something like that? So you're seeing it lately. So as long as this continues, this upward compression could lead to a breakout at some point, probably closer to when basketball training camps start. Giannis. Have your downtrend, and then now you have your resistance and your support set up pretty well here, and so it got a nice pop off of this one. Liked it in here, and it came up to the top of this resistance, so now you're back into that area again. So if you're looking for that card, this seems to be kind of the spot, and one of these days, yeah, it probably breaks out and goes a bit higher here. Jason Tatum, a very slight uptrend on this one here, bottom of the range coming up just a little bit here, so could put in some new highs over the past couple of months, relatively speaking. Not highs here, but highs here as this buy starts to creep up. So as long as it's holding this upper channel here, then the risk reward does set up favorably. Joker, we had your kind of your compression in your breakdown, and looking for an area in here, and went tad bit lower on this one here. But now you're at an area of pretty decent support. So if you've been looking for this card, your risk reward does set up favorably. Stevie Y, Peachy, couple of hockey here, bottom of the range, breaking the downtrend, coming back, getting up against resistance here, but a couple of sales could push it back up into this zone. So your risk and your reward, they set up favorably on that one. Auston Matthews continues his downtrend overall. So an area where there's been some buying in the past, if we can hold this support zone and curl up, that would be a good thing, but it hasn't done it quite yet. And we'll wind it up with Machamp. Matchup, I don't know, whatever. So sideways action here, closer to the bottom range than the top of the range. Whenever it does come down to the bottom of the range, it's a very quick move. It's a one boom, it's a one off, it's a one off, it's a one off. This seems like more of your area for buying here. So I would say that your risk reward sets up favorable on the PS8-9 version of that card. So that's what I got for you. I hope you have a great weekend. We'll talk at you later. If you like this, let me know. Hit that subscribe button, hit the like button, do all the smashing stuff or whatever. Let me know that this is good and you enjoy it, and I'll keep doing it. So take care, and we'll talk to you later. Bye.